I think there are several things that are unique about the approach, although we have to begin by saying that it's really just good old-time organizing too, and perhaps in the course of the last couple of decades, as we were focused on such techniques as developing affordable housing and other things, we may have lost some touch with the real basis of our work, which is building relationships and rebuilding relationships at the neighborhood level. The other thing we found, though, is that the methodology that we have taken on, which is really a replication to a large extent of another program that started out in the South Bronx in New York called CCRP, is that it's provided a methodological discipline for us as we approach our work, and a discipline that really does seem to have impact on the neighborhoods. We modeled our program on another program that actually seemed to be fairly successful, rather than trying to start something brand new. Though we have refined it, and Anita Miller, who was responsible for the program, the other program, the one in the South Bronx, will, I think, rather readily say we've kind of turned that model inside out at this point, but still it was important to us to find something that really did seem to work. Secondly, using LISC as an intermediary, we feel, is really important. Not necessarily because it's LISC, but having an experienced intermediary that's been in the field for a long time and does have at least a basic skill set, we've found has been very important. And happily, exempting myself, I think we have one of the best staffs in the country that really knows how to do this work. A third item that's we found very important, and again distinguishes our program from other efforts, is the funder, in this case MacArthur. And what distinguishes MacArthur, I think, from many other funders is that they really have a culture of learning. It is a culture that allows their program officers to really work with us side by side in a real work relationship, rather than a funder-fundee or grantee kind of situation. And that allows them to, and allows us to make mistakes, or to admit when things aren't working, and to make course corrections without threatening the whole program, without being accusatory. That's on the negative side. On the positive side, it allows us to take risk. It allows us to do things that we might not otherwise do. Any number of things in NCP have turned out well as a result of that. So the culture of the funder has really been important. And I think finally, the role of indigenous leadership at the community level has really been important. We have emphasized over and over again, and it keeps coming back at us every time we do something, and that is the importance of organizing at the local level, finding leadership, following leadership, and taking a bet on leaders as they are emerging or are in place at the neighborhood level. Take a guy like Carlos Nelson at Auburn Gresham CDC. Frankly, when we invited Auburn Gresham to participate in this program, the CDC was barely breathing. It had been around for a while, but it had not had the kind of leadership and constituency that one would hope to have for that kind of organization. And Carlos was just as raw as he could be. Didn't come from inside the field. He just knew he liked doing this work, this kind of work. He wasn't even sure what this kind of work was. But he has emerged as an articulate, thoughtful, very good organizer, has developed a constituency, and as I say, I think one of the emerging leaders. Another person like Bernita Gabriel Johnson down in the Quad Communities area. Again, actually started as a volunteer in the effort down there, had been on the board, decided that she had been selling insurance, I think, or something of that nature, and decided that this seemed kind of interesting to take on, more than interesting. It started to become a passion. Bernita now has gone to the International Council of Shopping Centers 3 times in Las Vegas, selling the neighborhood, brought back 2 developers, 2 active developers, which has now led to a $90 million new mixed-use project at 47th and Cottage. These are things that 10 years ago, 8 years ago, were nowhere near on her personal map or on her career path, but are terrific for her and terrific for the neighborhood. So those are just two very specific examples of what I mean by folks who are really getting into the game.